Welcome to Angel Air. My name is Anita Mayberry. Thank you for tuning in to this exact same moment, time, and place. Today with me, I have the beautiful Alan Steinfeld. Thank you so much for coming in today and being on Angel Air. It's just an honor and a pleasure to have you.
Well, it's great to be here with you.
Yay.
It's you know, I do my own show, so it just feels natural to explore the airways of Angel Air.
Well, thank you, thank you. Alan, you do have your own TV show, New Realities, and on that you do different discussions and different topics about consciousness and raising vibrations. If you would be so gracious as to tell us a little bit about that and how that came into work. Where did that creation start for you?
That's a good question. Where did it start for me?
In that mastermind of yours. I want to hear, please.
Well, I'm trying to figure it out. I think it started when I was a child and realizing, I was brought up very, it was very typical suburban mentality. Everything was the way it was supposed to be. It was very cookie cutter. There was no thinking outside the box. You didn't even realize there was a box to think outside of. But then I started to have experiences, like out-of-body experiences, where I'd be dreaming and start to feel like I was not in my body, but I was still aware of the body. This was not explained, certainly not in the school system, but not in religions, not anywhere where these experiences somehow explained. So you have two choices. You either think you're crazy, which a lot of people do think because there's no validation for experience, or you start to explore other possibilities, and you talk to other people, you look in the literature, you go to bookstores, and you see maybe this has happened to other people. So my own experiences have led to my own investigations that there's more to reality than we've been not just educated, but conditioned and brainwashed to think there is. We're taught to believe in right and wrong, up and down. The universe is so multi-dimensional. It's not black or white. There's shades of infinite colors that exist. And so we're only taught this or that. And when we start to explore our own experience, our own mind, and start to trust our subjective reality over what the objective world is telling us is true, then something awakens inside that values your own experience, that values the new realities that are true despite anyone's argument that it's not.
Wow. Wow.
So that was my exploration into consciousness. Okay, what's going on for me? Well, am I crazy? Or, if people who are crazy don't think they're crazy. But if you think you're crazy, then maybe you're not. You know? If you have some awareness that, okay, maybe these out-of-body experiences, maybe I did see a UFO, or maybe there was these dimensional beings that I saw appear, or these feelings. We're taught not to value the feelings, and I know your work is all based on the feelings, but the feelings are more primary than the thoughts. We're only taught in this society, in our upbringing, in our programming and education, how to think. How to think logically. That's only one half of our brain. You can't just walk around. It's like trying to walk with one half of your body.
That's so true.
So another part of our brain is connected to something beyond ourselves. I tell people it's like if you didn't know you were connected to the internet, if your computer was connected to the internet, and you just thought everything that was on your computer was something that someone put there because it was programmed then, and you have this other information, people didn't know about it, they would think that it was already on your computer. But I'm saying the right brain, particularly, is our access to something beyond just the body of knowledge and experience that we've learned. It's sort of your connection to the internet of the cosmos, this creative force that's coming through us all the time that wants to activate new potentials. And we're here to create new realities, new potentials, new ideas, That's why we're here. We're not here to complete our karma and resolve the past and, all that. There's something new that's happening in each moment.
Yes.
And we're here to create that.
Oh, I love that. You painted a beautiful picture there.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, I hope that was clear.
It was.
Because this whole idea of this unseen reality that we're accessing now at this turning point in our history should be valued and recognized and brought to the forward to a public attention. To know there's more to us than definitely meets the eye.
Love that. I love that. I would love for you to also share with our viewers, when you come into contact with somebody who is going through an awakening process.
Like you?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
You can use me as an example.
Okay, sure.
Walk us through that. How do you connect with them to help them evolve? Because I know the work that you and I have shared together was very, it impacted me on such a level of feeling and really in tuning myself on a deeper level, like really deep down.
Right.
Really. And please.
Thank you.
Please.
No, thank you for that. I'm not saying, in this acknowledgement, I respect that, but I'm not, home. I still have more my own stuff to work through and open up to and awaken. But when I look at somebody, I can see where they're holding the energy in their body. I see your shoulders and into your neck and maybe some of your arms, and they're holding the past.
And how do they get rid of that? How do you do
Well, what I do is called emotional clearing, or deep tissue emotional clearing. So when people have an experience that isn't pleasant, they contract. And that contraction, even if someone yells at you when you're 3 years old and you contract those muscles, it's not always released, especially if there is a lot of yelling going on. So your body stays contracted to protect itself. It's natural. But those muscles stay very tight and they start to, in a way, atrophy. There's no blood flowing through those muscles because they're so tight, the normal flow of blood is not activated. So I can see that. And then we go back to some of those, by pressing on the muscle, and it's not always pleasant. It can be tight.
Yes.
The person then has a chance to go back to the time where they're holding those memories, the incident, and by knowing they're safe now, by allowing themselves to relive those former situations and know it's the past, they can start to open up, relax, and breathe out the trauma. It's a trauma in a way. And they can allow themselves to release it by remembering. A lot of people contract automatically and they don't realize why they're contracting.
Yes.
It's just an automatic reflex. And they should have it because that's the protective mechanism. But by going back, but they don't need it after that incident has moved on. But people don't know that, especially if they're in an environment that keeps stimulating that. But as we come into a new process of ourselves, and we evolved out of the past, we can start to go back to those past memories and choose to release them by releasing sometimes the fear or the contractions that have stayed in the body. Your body remembers it all, even if your mind has forgotten. So by just pressing on it, asking the person to release or first feel, to remember, to acknowledge, to forgive themselves and the past and whoever that interaction was about, then there's a relaxation, a peace that can start to come into that person where their body relaxes and a lot of the stuff they're holding can be let go of. That's one way of doing it. Maybe they don't have to go there. Maybe it doesn't have to be, in a way, that painful. Maybe there's easier ways where you just choose, okay, I'm releasing. But if the body's not releasing it, and I can just feel, then there's still stuff to deal with. You may think on some high spiritual level that you've let go of something, but, you can tell your body doesn't lie.
That's very true because, even though we might, forgive somebody or a certain situation that's happened in the past or even forgive ourselves for it, here on the physical or spiritual plane, there's still that energy that's locked in there, and it's
Yes.
really about connecting with that energy
Yes.
as you've guided me, and letting that energy find an outlet to release, so you're no longer storing it in there.
But first you have to acknowledge what happened.
Exactly.
You have to go back and see it. Sometimes they call that recapitulation.
Okay,
And
great.
some where you actually breathe in the energy that you know what you lost, you know, and breathe out the energy that's been stuck. You know, so there's a process of breathing and letting go and releasing that frees us from the past.
Yay! I love that. Freedom!
That's why we're here. We're here for freedom. Yes,
Oh,
yes,
that's
yes.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
Well, thank you for being so open to that.
Oh, thank you for sharing. I love this. This is great. Another question for you, Alan, would be, you know, with spirit being around you, when would you have, on your journey, on your path, had certain situations that may have arisen or certain blockages that you felt have maybe put a roadblock in there, and how did you navigate through that?
What created like some things I had to work through? Is that what
Exactly.
you're asking?
Yes, exactly.
Well, I think I had a sort of bumpy relationship with my mother growing up. I mean, we were very maybe similar in some ways. Very, you know, there was a lot of arguments, and there was a lot of, in some ways, emotional hostility. I mean, that's what I felt. So I had to forgive. I had to go in there. I had to say, maybe this was coming from a place of love and expressed in a different way that, you know, and by also realizing where that person is and their history,
Yes.
you can let them go because you don't have to, you know, we can keep blaming their parents and their parents. At some point, we have to say, it's over. I'm letting it go. It's finished, and then I'm also taking responsibility. I think that's a big thing that gets through the stuff, is saying, okay, not to blame yourself, but what did I learn from this experience? What did I learn about the human realm? Why are people high-strung?
Yeah.
And why is that? What did I learn about being with that? Maybe I learned how to feel always at peace and relaxed because I had to be that way because there was a lot of that kind of tension. So I had to find the place in me that can be at peace wherever I am. Maybe that was the gift of that experience. So looking for the gift, and it's not always easy.
No, it's not.
But it's there.
Yes.
The gift is there, and when you find that gift, that person and all that obstacles can change, and it sort of dissolves.
Yes.
Sort of like the past even dissolves. The past changes because you're actually created a parallel timeline where you've always been what you are, and keep moving into these hyperdimensional realities that exist emotionally, in a sense.
Thank you so much for going in deep there with us and expressing that and sharing that. You know, I know that there are a lot of viewers with your show, and getting in tune on that level, that really touches a lot of souls and a lot of spirits. So thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you for being a representative of new realities, because really, I mean, that's one level of what I mean by new realities. But
I want you to go into detail with this, because I'm just itching for this. Please, please.
No, but what I really mean, and you sort of embody it, is the new patterns of thought, new ways of thinking about reality. And when you talk about spirits being here, you're integrating a different way of thinking. You're stepping outside the box that says reality is just like this. And you're acknowledging these other realms in this reality here. And that is what my mission has been about, creating new realities, because you're a person and there's others that are thinking in terms of reality different, that exists physically and non-physically, and there's no barrier between this flow that exists. So your mind is sort of multidimensional, representing a new reality of thought. And here we are.
Yes.
No, do you understand what I mean?
I do.
And if more people think that way, we'll have less problems.
I was just going to say with this, what you're bringing and unveiling and allowing people to tap into and see, sense, and hear, where do you see that movement going? Like what kind of elements and how high can we go?
We could go into infinite because the old structures aren't working, right?
No, they're not, especially with the children coming in that are going to be new. They won't be able to apply to any of that, the old school
look
methods.
What happened. Yes, education has gotten in the way of learning.
It has.
Medicine has gotten in the way of healing.
Yes.
Religion has gotten in the way of spirituality.
Absolutely.
Government has gotten in the way of freedom. You know, all the institutions that we set up to create structure and give us the freedom and expansion are now limiting those places of new possibilities. So what's happening now is that people are taking their health into their own hands, or taking their emotional capacities, they're taking their education. You know, the internet has created a huge field of self-education that didn't exist before. So these old dinosaurs, these old structures are breaking down. We're creating a new society that is not telling us how to think or what to think. We're creating new ways of thinking. The internet is a tool for our multidimensional mind.
It is.
And it's based on a subjective experience. In the television generation, you just watch the television, that was it. With the internet, it's an interactive where you're creating the environment that you are interfacing with. There's no creation in from the television environment or the newspaper. It's a one-way thing. Now we've created a two-way media that starts to help people think differently about their interactive roles within the vastness of creation. We're not just sitting back and letting it happen. We're making it happen, and we're changing the way we think with this whole new generation of thought.
It's like rewiring yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
Rewiring ourselves for something much bigger, much more expansive than anyone could have thought from a television generation. You know, so the new realities is we are thinking differently. And how do we think differently? Each day is an unfoldment of a new possibility as we interact with that. And then, yes, we rewire our brain for the unknown. It's about the unknown. It's not about what we know. You know, what we know is the past. The future exists in the unknown. So if we can keep letting go, you know, Heraclitus says you never step in the same river twice. Heraclitus was a real enlightened ancient Greek. He also says, what does he say? Expect the unexpected because it's difficult and hard to find. People like being in a box. They're programmed to be in the box. They're programmed for their everyday to be exactly what it was yesterday, maybe some variation so they're not too bored. But they're not allowed to step outside the box and expect the unexpected. If you say that to people, they go into fear.
They do. They hide.
But the unexpected is always so much glorious than the fear that's been instilled. The unexpected is the unknown, and that takes us to new possibilities. And that's what our mission of incarnation is all about. The unknown.
Gosh, thank you so much for expanding upon that. I love every part of that. I really do.
Well, that's what you're doing. Channeling your work. It's not like you know what you're going to say. If you knew what you were going to say, it would be old and boring. It's like you don't know. You're allowing the energies to flow through you to present people with new possibilities.
Yes.
That you haven't thought about or they haven't thought about, because you're co-creating with creation.
It's right there. It's in that moment.
Yes. Yes, and that's what makes your life exciting. And everyone who's any sort of creative artist or visionary or thinker or looking at things in outside a box, you know, that creates a new form that has not to be known. But it takes people willing to let go of what they know. That's hard. People like safety, security, predictability.
I know. I've been there. Absolutely. 100%.
And we're all still there.
Yeah.
But do we step into a new possibility, into something that's what I'm trying to do for myself with new realities, and that's what I'm hoping other people do for themselves, and that's evolution. We can create new technologies that haven't been thought of before. They're just waiting.
They are. It's like, okay, let's open that door and step in and just embrace whatever's behind this door. We don't know what it is, but it's got to be something new and elevating and evolving.
Yes, because the universe is feeding us new thought all the time.
All the time.
Yes. So we can create anti-gravity machines. That's been thought of, but you know what hasn't been thought of is how. The technologies. These are new possibilities, you know. Einstein's relativity. You know, he said space and time are connected. No one even suspected that before Einstein. How could space and time be connected? Now everyone knows that. Before Newton, no one even knew that gravity existed. Of course, things fell, but no one gave it a name. Actually, did Newton discover gravity or did he invent gravity?
Oh, wow.
He, I think, invented it because when we make new distinctions in the cosmos, we actually create the reality of that. You know, so the idea of the creative artists or some of the visionaries to create new ideas about what's possible, new distinctions in the cosmos. It's a chaos out there until we decide it's not, until we start to notice new patterns of perception. This is what creates the new realities. When you start to see a new framework that's outside your box, you create a new perceptual awareness that expands the field of all human possibilities. That's where we are. We're expanding into the unknown. And thank you for holding the space to allow that to happen.
Thank you. I love what you're doing right now. I love the energy that comes from you. All the beauty, all the purity that's coming from your soul and your spirit as you're sitting here. And I just know that you are going to continue to keep growing and evolving and doing big and beautiful and wonderful things. I just know it. I see it for you.
I think, I'm yes, that's what I want, and that's what I want everyone to do, though.
Exactly.
It's not me.
Yeah, it's everybody.
Yes.
It's everybody. Let's all do this together, because isn't that the bigger picture?
That is the bigger picture. That's the only way to get out of the mess we've created.
Yes.
Because it is a mess.
It is.
And it doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't. It really, truly doesn't.
But people have to be willing to change. We have to be willing to change. We have to be, me and you as human beings have to be willing to let go of what we know to embrace something bigger.
Oh, I love that.
And the people who have really held tight onto their money, onto their empires, and onto their wars, it's up to them to let it go. You know,
they have to make that decision.
Eventually, it'll all be gone. But you know, empires have come and gone. But in the process, do people evolve spiritually? And I think we're in a spiritual renaissance. We're at the beginning. We're at the beginning of the age of Aquarius. We're at the end of the age of Kali Yuga. We're at the end and the beginning of the new sun, as the Mayans and the Aztecs and the Toltecs call it. This is a time where different energies are coming in, and I know that's why you're doing your work, because new patterns in the brain are opening up to allow higher frequencies to be accessed, that the messages and the beings that exist beyond this plane are asking us to deliver.
Wow.
That's what you're doing.
Yes, it is. It is. But thank you for making that, you know, all these are valid, beautiful points, but coming out and just exploding upon that, because everybody who taps into this needs to hear that. It's so incredibly important.
Yeah, I mean, I think people, I mean, yeah, they maybe need to hear. It's just coming to me, but it's what I'm trying to make sense of. You know, I'm trying to understand.
Well, we're all trying to understand. We're all trying to evolve. Every day we're growing and allowing ourselves to be who we are to be. And fully accepting of ourselves.
So this is what makes sense to me. How do we start to move? And it's a creative moment. It's a creative act. It's creation as it comes into you, into me, into the people watching. It's creativity.
One of the things I love to express upon with the universe is I always feel the universe supports creation. It definitely supports the movement and asking, you know, okay, like this is something I'm inspiring to do, this is something that I desire to do, and saying that and speaking it, because the universe loves manifestation, it loves growth. So, you know, all we have to do is open that up and just be open to receiving that and allowing ourselves to embrace all of that and continue to push ourselves and grow.
That's important, to allow manifestation, speaking it. I think that's really important, that people speak about what they want to say. They speak it out in their desire, in their beauty and essence.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Alan. Why don't you let the viewers who are tuning in, let them know how they can contact you and your information, because your knowledge, you are a huge knowledge of information and insight and inspiration. So please.
Well, I've collected knowledge, you know. I've collected information, and hopefully it becomes knowledge.
Yes.
So people can find me at newrealities.com. That's my website where I keep accessing new possibilities. And you can email me at newrealities@earthlink.net. And
Beautiful.
And how can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook, typing in Angel Air Network. You can go ahead and do Instagram, Angel Air Network as well. We will have a website up and running. It's angelairuniverse.com, and also our radio show too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alan, for joining us. Thank you so much for tuning in to Angel Air. My name is Anita Mayberry, and you never know what dimension I'll be flying into next.